Hi everyone, my name is Trisha and I want to welcome you to EDEC 3220 School Programs for Young Children. I'm excited to get to know each of you a little bit better this semester and wanted to just kind of walk through the course with you a little bit so you understand some of the expectations. You'll notice on the home page that there's a voice thread here. What I'm going to ask you to do is hit the play button and it'll give you some instructions for how to post a comment. And these will sort of be our introductions to the class. You'll post a picture and some responses to some questions that I have, and you'll be able to see my own there too. So every time when you open up the class, you'll see everyone. So course home is where a lot of things happen. The first thing you need to look at is the syllabus. So I'm going to walk through the syllabus with you just real quickly, and there's a lot of information in here in a really general way, and then when you get deeper into the course, there'll be better descriptions for everything. So obviously, if you're in the class, you know what the prerequisites are. We have a strong academic honesty policy here at UW, and I want you to think about what that means in terms of planning for kids. Oftentimes it means that we're not taking lesson plans off the internet. So what we need you to do is think about how you're going to be constructing knowledge and engaging in work that's your own this semester. If you have a disability, please contact University Disability Support Services. The only way that I can accommodate you and know what you might need is by going through them. If you are a student in the elementary education program, you need to have a live text account. Most of you should have this already, but this is the only way that we can monitor your common assessments and keep track of your progress in the teacher education program. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Also in this class, you all are going to be evaluated on your professional behaviors and dispositions using a Wyoming teacher education program assessment. We're not just evaluating you on your content knowledge of how to teach children, but also your dispositions towards your own learning, your dispositions towards the learning of children. So this is sort of your attitude towards teaching and learning and your attitude in the class. And this is a formal part of the teacher education program. Notice that there's endorsement standards. This is an endorsement course for early childhood. Whether you are or are not seeking an endorsement doesn't really matter. The fact is this is an endorsement course and we have certain expectations as a program that we need to demonstrate that we are teaching you and that you're having competency in before you leave this class. So whether you have any intention of ever working with young children, I want you to know that this is an early childhood class and there are certain skills and certain knowledge that you need to acquire throughout the course of this semester. Whether it's of particular interest to you or it's where you see yourself being later on. Learning outcomes, each unit, and the units are listed here on the left-hand side. We start with constructivism and education, then move on to science, math, engineering, and technology. Each unit has certain learning outcomes, and there will be different content within the unit as well as different readings, videos, and then assessments that will help to evaluate you and see what your learning and skills are related to certain topics. In terms of readings, there's no book in this class, but there are lots of readings embedded within the units, and you'll need to move throughout the unit to get to all the readings. Communication is really important in an online class. If you are struggling or falling behind or confused by something, the only way I can know and help you is if you communicate with me. The best way to communicate with me is by email, and then we can set up a phone conference. I've found that many students find it to be so much easier that when they talk on the phone and everything just seems to come together really quickly for them just with a few-minute conversation. Because in reading, it's really easy to not understand the way I phrase something or to pass over or miss something that's vitally important. So please communicate early and often. Don't wait until you're very, very confused. The course expectations in an online class are pretty heavy, especially being a 3,000 level class. There's a lot that you need to do. Ongoing participation is really important in the class, and I can monitor your participation in each unit, the number of minutes and hours you're in class every unit. But what's most important for me is that I've provided you with a flexible format, that the units are grouped in 3-week chunks, and that you have 3 weeks to complete most of the assignments in the unit. Some of them are due a little bit earlier than others, and you'll have to look at all of those as you open up the unit. But that you're participating throughout the unit, because these assignments are too large and pretty complex in nature. They ask you to incorporate information from videos and movies and readings and personal experiences, and the only way you can do that is if you've done all the work up to that point. I'm going to ask that you engage with a large amount of content in each unit, and that means just spreading it out over the course of the unit and really taking a look at everything. Some things you might need to go back and look at multiple times. It's not as simple or simplistic as a lower division course, so you're really going to have to get inside the content, analyze it, apply it in your work with children and in your practicum sites. And this can be, some complex and hard work sometimes. So it might mean reviewing and going back over things. It might not just be intuitive and something that comes really, really easily. There are a lot of assignments in this class, but the good thing is that only one assignment overall is absolutely mandatory, and that's your final documentation assignment. Each unit, there's small components that lead up to the documentation assignment that you have to complete that are required assignments. However, every unit, there's also a lot of optional assignments that you can complete to earn points. You will need to complete many of them, but they'll be your choice. And I'll explain all that to you a little bit later. I think the thing that's caused most of you stress is the practicum. There is a practicum component in this class because this is a teacher education course, and for students moving on to an endorsement, they will be doing an internship, which is like a student teaching following this class. And so we have a 30-hour practicum. Most students will engage for 3 hours a week for 10 weeks in an approved placement. I will get into how you get your placement approved when we get into Unit 1 a little bit more. But just know that you're going to be working in an early childhood setting. This is important because this is an endorsement course, and your internship will be done in an infant, toddler, or preschool placement. So it's important that you have experiences outside of an elementary school if at all possible. There is a help discussion here on your left. If you have any questions, sometimes other people have the same question as you, so just check that. You can come here and see that there's little question marks, and you can post a question and people can come back and answer it, and oftentimes that question will already have been posted. Announcements. I'll post several announcements a week, or at least one a week usually. I'll also send you emails regarding any changes or updates, or if I notice that several people have questions or there's some confusion about certain things in the course. Oftentimes I'll post an announcement to help clarify things or to address certain things you need to do that might have changed. Learning assessments are basically your assignments, and there's too many of them to list them all in the syllabus, but they're within each unit, and you'll be able to take a look at that. There are certain required assignments that all must be completed with a 77% or a C grade or better before moving on to the next unit. Obviously, I'd love you to complete the optional assignments, otherwise you won't pass the class, but the required assignments are absolutely mandatory because they build towards your final documentation assignment, which is where we are here, your documentation common assessment. This is an assignment that builds over the course of the semester, and it involves the teaching of 3 lessons to young children that you have planned, and then you will document that learning throughout the course of the semester and put together a large electronic documentation that shows what occurred in the classroom and assesses the children and also yourself on the teaching strategies that you use. And so when you click right here on the documentation common assessment, it'll open in a tab. You can see right here is the common assessment, and you're going to be evaluated on the planning and selection of an appropriate topic, planning in math and science curriculum content, planning for the materials and the environment, planning for your teaching strategies that you're using appropriate early childhood teaching strategies, planning for children to initiate and explore, planning for assessment, and then that you will document relationships and interactions during the lessons that you teach, that you'll document your teaching strategies, that you'll document initiation and exploration of the children, and assessment. And of course your documentation will be evaluated on organization and how well you professionally communicate your ideas. as you begin to think more about this assignment and put together, we'll be taking a closer look at the common assessment and how you can ensure that you meet its expectations. Going back here. In terms of the common assessment, there's a policy for that everyone must receive a proficient or distinguished rating on the common assessment in order to move forward in the program or to even pass the class. So if you get more than 2 basic or unsatisfactory ratings, you will end up getting a D or F in the class, regardless of how you do on everything else. You will get one opportunity to redo the assignment and pull your grade up. So hopefully everyone usually does very well. In terms of point value, each unit is worth 100 points, and then the final documentation assignment is worth 100 points. So within the unit, there'll be multiple different assignments that you can complete to reach 100 points. And down here, you'll see the grading criteria. And so each unit will be based on points and then converted over to a percentage. So that's the syllabus. If you come over here on the left in Course Home, you'll also notice that there is a course overview. And the course overview has some really important points in it that I want to talk to you about. The first is the help desk. If you are having technology issues, you need to go to the help desk and get support there. I do not have the technology expertise to help with specific issues. That's why we have 24-hour support. But don't do it 5 minutes before your assignment's due. If you're having tech trouble, you need to go to the help desk early and often. So in thinking about the organization of this course, I decided that many of you are busy people who are working full-time. When I went to school, I worked full-time. I had my children. My husband was also in school and working full-time, and we were really busy people. And so in light of that, I wanted to provide you with some flexibility in the way the course was structured. So rather than breaking the course up into weeks, I broke it up into units that are 3 weeks long. And each unit will have a lot that you need to do within it, but you'll have some flexibility in how you have to do it. So if you notice, the first unit, Constructivism and Early Childhood Education, runs from Monday, January 14th to February 3rd. And then it closes. So you only have that amount of time to complete the work. And so you really need to, from the very beginning, begin exploring and understanding and analyzing and applying all the information that's in there at the opening of the unit so that you can get a really good understanding of what's happening and what's required of you. But you can manage your time a little bit more, and I'm not micromanaging your time. So as long as things get turned in by the end of the unit, you can be very successful. As I mentioned earlier, there's no text, but there's readings that are linked within each unit. And the learning outcomes are separate for each unit, and the learning assessments are based on the assignments. There is a practicum, as you know, and I said that it's a weekly practicum experience. There is a log, and I'll show you that you're going to have to fill out each week. So once your practicum placement is identified, you'll bring this log with you and your mentor teacher will sign it. So you will put the date and the time and the hours that you completed and your mentor teacher will sign. And then at the end of the semester, you will submit this. So that link is right there. And then in terms of earning points, as I mentioned earlier, there's 600 points in the class, 500 for each unit, for the units, and 100 for the final assignment. Each unit will have some required assignments that you need to complete, and then some optional assignments that you should complete to total 100 points. The math science documentation assignment, of course, is a big part of your grade, and the policy about the common assessment that I just mentioned earlier is written here in red, so you can go back and read that frequently so you understand what's required of you. I also mentioned that there's a professional behaviors and dispositions assessment, which you also need to pass. We are looking for your dispositions towards your own learning and towards children. And once again, the help discussion. So as you see, I put things in multiple different places so that you can see all of them and become familiar with them.